So for this project, I decided to go a route somewhat different from the rest of the class. Um, I decided to do something related to my senior project, which is healthcare, and um, kind of look at the Meadow Park area and the current crisis, and look at ways to bring healthcare to San Luis Obispo County without doing things like shoving 1,000 beds in the Cal Poly Recreation Center. And so one of the things I started looking at was the these pods called Kura pods, and they are a creation during the pandemic out of shipping containers. And so this is a snippet from their website. So these pods I kind of looked at their basic structure and decided to use them as a template for the structures on my site and set up a garden, a therapeutic garden that would be attached to a permanent building. And so this site has a permanent day use, but in the case of an emergency such as a pandemic or another reason that we would need more intensive care units in the county of San Luis Obispo, um, or shelters of any kind, this could be used for a lot of things. We have immediate units available to be set up. And so I wanted to create this space that has a dual use. And so one of the first things I thought about was, and a lot of what my senior project is going to be about, is biophilic design in healthcare and how humans evolved in the savannah, the savannas of Africa, and a lot of biophilic design tries to look back at these spaces and says that these spaces are the spaces that make us feel the best. And I think it's interesting because this right here is a picture of the African savanna, and this right here is a picture of the California oak woodlands. And as you can see, the ecosystems are really similar. So I want to turn this space into an oak woodland, and so play off the native ecology and keep it as an ecologically sensitive space, but then also have it participate in this role of being a biophilic design and being something that is understandable and recognizable to the human brain on a subconscious level, and that promotes healing and stress-free environments. And so this is my site here. I created a small study model. And so this is kind of the basic layout I've come up with for um, the emergency um, the emergency space. And so looking at how I wanted to formulate the space in the day use center, and then basing the emergency space off of that, I have the main building and then the appendages that all would be apart from the main building, but then act as spaces for group spaces, or treatment spaces that would be out for people to walk to. And so then incorporating these walking paths that would really provide kind of this trail system, but this accessible trail system throughout the site, incorporating the main building and the appendages. And then there would be one road in and one parking lot. But then the emergency use would take these appendages and turn these appendages into something more important. So still for public access, there would be one road and one parking lot. However, as far as the walking roads would actually go around to the outside instead of coming to the inside. And so in the case of a pandemic, these spaces of these medical spaces and non-medical spaces could be split. And then ambulances could come in on these roads and drop patients off at their respective pods. And the ambulances would be able to access that inner space. And so then looking at these pods, so this is how the ambulance would be able to come in and out and would actually be able to drop people off at the individual building. And so that would provide for all of that inner space to be as sanitary as possible, and try and minimize contraction not only between the general public and people who are sick, but also between people who are sick in case they may not be sick with the same thing. And always minimizing contact is also safer for healthcare professionals. And they would have one in route and one exit route, which would make it safer on a vehicle level. And then those walking paths would go around the outside, and specifically people would be allowed to enter and visit their loved ones through the walls and through the windows, so eliminating the risk of contraction from their loved ones, but also being able to say hello or goodbye to loved ones in the case that they were there. And then the other thing I thought about was how these pods would need to get in and out, because having them use a crane would mean a crane would have to be permanently on the site so that they could really be rolled out in a timely manner. So I thought about a rail system in which they would be rolled out and rolled back in an automated way, and then they could be stored right next to the parking area on the site. So looking at this is the model with the pods put off to the side, and this is kind of how this network of paths could kind of work its way through the site, and the site could be really adaptable to walking and having meetings or groups related to the county mental health facility here. And then also these trails that go off into the South Hills open space. And so that provides a really healthy atmosphere for people, especially since it's the mental health facility for the county. And then looking at vegetation, I would want to put permanent vegetation in between where the pods would be if they were rolled out. And so putting that vegetation there, then when they weren't there, it would create these kind of interesting walkways and interesting pockets and spaces that would be there. So I think that this space is a great example, being across from the county mental health facility and across from a hospice center. It has a lot of interesting ways that it could be used as a day center, in things that, and leaving that permanent building there and those appendage buildings there. The appendage buildings would not be able to be used during a crisis. They would only be used as crisis buildings. However, the main building could continually be used for its intended purpose. And so, by providing this incredible green space and this incredible extensive garden to the community, it would be a really great thing to have at all times, for the community. And I think that, it's not something that the community really has. A garden, especially like a therapeutic or a healing garden of this size, even at the hospitals in the county, the outdoor green space is quite limited. And so I think that this could really be an asset to the community. And in times of crisis, hopefully we don't have another pandemic, but if we did, it would be important to be more prepared than we were. And I think that projects of this kind will be something that people will take more seriously in the future based off of what's happening right now. But I look forward to hearing your feedback. And I know that this is kind of a novel, interesting thing I've been thinking about, and I've never really looked into healthcare before, and I've definitely never done a transitioning landscape before, so I really look forward to hearing any feedback that you have, and yeah, thank you so much.